going to start then. Let's start our lesson for today. So I'm just going to share here very quick today's lesson. And Olher, we're going to practice today part 2 of the reading and use of English test. In this part, Olher, well, I'm going to tell you in a moment what we need to study for this part. But in this part, as you can see, they don't show us any words for us to put in. Based on our grammar knowledge, we need to know what word to put in. Okay, and it's always just one word, the ones that we need to write down. But I'm going to tell you in a moment which words we need to get put here in this part. But before seeing that, I would like for us to practice a little bit of gerunds and infinitives. That sometimes that is a little bit difficult, even though we know it, but sometimes there's some maybe details that are a little bit difficult for us. So that's what I want for us to see today. So I'm just going to get in here. Just give me a moment. Let's see here. Yes. So remember, Olher, that gerunds in this case is a verb which is used as a noun. I don't know if you, maybe I can give you some examples here. Like if I say, I enjoy watching, right? In this case, the gerund is watching, because with the verb enjoy, we always use a gerund, right? So in this case, remember this ing is not ando en endo, right? It's just el ver. Yo disfruto el ver, right? I enjoy watching TV. The same thing if I'm talking in the past or with ing, this one is still the same, right? So enjoy is the verb and watching is like the noun, right? Because it's a verb acting as a noun, right, Olher? And also, well, in this case, and the infinitive is to plus the verb, right? So for example, with like, I can use a gerund or I can also use an infinitive. I can say, I like to play football, right? So the gerund is the ing and the infinitive is to plus the verb, okay? So that's the way to use it. Do you have any specific questions about this before we go on, or is this clear for you, Olher?
Yeah, everything is clear. You have to
Okay.
continue.
Okay, perfect. Let's continue. So, okay, Megan is getting in. Let's wait for Megan. Let's wait for her to get in.
Okay.
Yes. And okay, she's just waiting for her. Hi, Megan. Welcome to the class.
Hello.
Hi. Megan, we were just starting. Well, today we're going to see the part 2 of the reading and use of English test. But before seeing this in a specific, I just want for us to review a little bit of gerunds and infinitives, which is good for us just to review it, right? Very quick. And there are some different ways of using gerunds, right? The first one is, well, we have here, it can be the subject of a clause or a sentence, you know? For example, in this case, climbing the hill took them all day. Or the object, I consider learning to be an essential part of growing up. But when we're gonna start with a verb, we use ing, right? So you can say, for example, yeah, watching TV is my favorite way of relax, right? Or you can say, working in the hospital is tired, right? It can be a little bit tired, older, right? So,
Yeah.
so if you're going to start with a verb, that in that case will be a gerund, right? We use ing. Now, other ways of using gerunds is after all these verbs, we're gonna be using gerunds, right? So for example, you can say, yes, I hate cycling, right? Or you can say, I love reading, right? So after these verbs, we need to use gerunds. So we just need to memorize these verbs, right? Can Olher or Megan, can you give me some example using some of these verbs using a gerund?
Okay. I don't mind cooking.
Okay, very good. I don't mind cooking. Well, excellent, Megan.
Mhm.
Because some women, they don't like cooking, right? But that's good. That's good. I don't mind
Mhm.
cooking. Olher, do you have an example using some of these verbs?
Maybe I like working at the hospital.
Okay, I like working at the hospital. Very good, very good. So these are, you know, this loathe, right? Loathe.
Oh, I love. Yes, I love.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, so I'm going to maybe at the end, I'm going to send you these verbs so you can know that part. Also, second rule, after all prepositions except two, but there are some exceptions for two. For example, look forward to, we use ing, we use the gerund. So you can say, I am looking forward to going on vacation, right? Or I'm looking forward to doing this Cambridge test. So remember that we look forward to, we use a gerund. Also, to object, to, right, doing, or to get used to. We use this one a lot, right? So you can say, yes, I am getting used to tell me something that you're getting used to. Give me a sentence with get used to and a gerund. Can you give me an example with that?
Maybe I'm used to teaching.
I'm getting used. Yeah, I'm used to teaching. Very good. Well, already in the hospital, maybe you're used now. You're used to what? Maybe to.
I don't know. No, I really don't have a complete sentence about that.
Yeah, but that's okay. So you can say I'm used to working in the hospital, right? So you're just getting
Yes.
used to that. But the most important thing is that we need to use ing after used to ing, right? So that will be the second
Okay.
rule. The third rule that we need to know regarding gerunds is that after adjective and preposition combinations, right? And I think that this one, Olher and Megan, sometimes we forget a little bit which adjective goes with which preposition, right? Sometimes, and those are like collocations too, right? Because certain adjectives, they go with certain prepositions. And we need to know that after those prepositions, we need to use a gerund. So in this case, Stephen is fantastic at. So now we know that fantastic, the adjective fantastic goes with the preposition at, right? So that's something that we need to also memorize, right? So, and this is what we need to memorize. This is something very, very important. So we know that good, wonderful, fantastic, bad, awful, and terrible, this one goes with the preposition at, right? Also happy, pleased, glad, anxious, sad, and worry goes with the preposition about, right? And this one, afraid, frightened, scared, terrified, goes with the preposition of, right? Interested goes with preposition in, okay? Then keen goes with the preposition on. You know what keen is? Do you know what keen is?
No, I don't have the meaning of the word.
Megan, do you know?
Yeah, like happy, excited, something positive.
Yeah, like for example, you say, I am keen on playing
like a super
basketball.
fan, something.
So that means that I'm really into that, right? I know basketball players, I collect things, I'm very passionate about that, right? So keen on, like interested in, right? So it's similar to interested. Now, capable goes with of, with the preposition of, okay? So that's something we need to know. And proud also goes with of. So this is very, very important for us to to memorize because sometimes we get confused with preposition goes with each adjective, right? Now, another way of using this preposition is with, in this case, another common use is with the noun difficulty. So with this noun, we use the preposition in. So you can say, well, I'm having difficulty in studying math, whatever, right? So sometimes we forget about these details, and this is very, very important. Which, yes, Oher, do you have a question?
No,
Oh,
yet.
I thought you had a question. Okay, so we
Oh,
use,
I do.
oh, Megan, you
I'm
have a
sorry.
question?
Yeah, so sorry to interrupt. I was just wondering if this is on the book so that I can look up the page.
This is actual, this one is not on the book that you have, but
Oh,
I'm,
okay.
I'm going to send it to you, okay?
All right, right.
I'm going to
So
send
sorry
it to you.
about that.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, thank
Because this is very important, right, Megan? It's very, very important for us to
Right.
memorize these because most of the times they don't teach us this type of things, right? Not even in college. So I think that's why it's very important for us to know this type of details. Now, so we use adjectives with certain prepositions, but we also use some verbs with certain prepositions. And that's what we're going to see here very quick. We have, okay, so all, for example, well, it says after certain verbs, I learned to speak, no, this is infinitive, I'm sorry, over here, sorry. Okay, after verb and preposition combinations, for example, I don't approve of, right? So in that case, the verb approve goes with the preposition of, right? Or this one, we need to memorize this. Please try to memorize insist. In this case, goes with on. Approve, we were saying of. Apologize for. Consist of. Believe in. Succeed in. Accuse someone of. Congratulate someone on. So you see, this is very, very important. And if you're going to use a verb, we need to use ing with this, right? So maybe you can say, yes, I believe in working hard, right? So that's something that you need to understand. Or I apologize uh, for calling you whatever, right? So this is something that we need to really learn and also memorize. Any questions regarding these parts? Everything clear? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Perfect, perfect. And then we use gerunds after phrasal verbs, okay? So in this case, gave up is a phrasal verb, right? So after a phrasal verb, we're gonna be using a gerund, right? I gave up playing tennis when I hurt my knee, right? Or we have a lot of phrasal verbs that we need to know that after a phrasal verb, we use ing or gerund. So that's the first rule for gerunds. Now let's go with infinitives. Sorry, what are the rules for the infinitives? Well, the infinitives used after certain verbs. For example, I learned to speak Spanish in Valencia. So for example, all these verbs that I have here, we use infinitives. So we say, for example, I agree to help you, right? Or you can say, I promise to call you, right? Or I pretend to be nice, whatever you want to say, right? So all these verbs are followed by an infinitive, right? Now, we also use infinitives after certain adjectives. For example, in this case, this one's difficult, possible, sorry, happy, certain, simple. So that's why we need to memorize this, because I don't want you to get confused with the other adjectives, right? That are followed by a preposition. These ones, I just say, for example, yeah, it's possible to help you, or I am happy to give you something, right, or whatever. So that's something that we need to use after these adjectives. We use infinitives. Now, the other rule, after verbs which follow the pattern verb, someone, to the infinitive and something. For example, you can say, I ask. You see, this is the verb. And someone, we need to answer the question who. I ask who? Well, her, right? And then we use the infinitive. Can somebody give me an example here? For example, or her or Megan, can you give me an example of a verb, who, and then add an infinitive?
Maybe I promised her to help her out.
Very, very good. Yeah, I promised her to help her, right? Can you think of an example, or her? Oh, Olher, you have the microphone muted.
No, not really. Sorry.
Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. But I just want for you to understand, right, Olher? So for example, you can say, yes,
Yeah.
another one, we have here some verbs that you can use. For example, I teach Maria to speak English, right? So whatever, so you can use these verbs and someone and then an infinitive, right? So that's the way to use it. Now, another way of using infinitives is to express purpose, right? So for example, you can say, yes, I went to the shop, and maybe you can answer the question, why? Well, to get some bread, right? Or you can say, I went to the hospital to work, right? Because you work there. So that's the infinitive, right? The infinitive. So that's some ways of using in that case to and an infinitive, right? Now there's some other parts, or there's some infinitives that we don't use to. Which ones? For example, the models, right? So for example, can or must, you can say, yes, I must study. You don't say I must to study, right? But that study becomes an infinitive. So if you say I must study, right? Or I can play guitar, for example, that play, it becomes an infinitive. Well, this is something very important. Make has no to in the active voice, for example, but has to in the passive. And let's see some examples here. I made him go to school, right? This is active, so we don't use to. If I change this sentence into passive with the verb, in this case, with the verb make, I need to use a to, right? He was made to go to school. So that's a very small detail that I think is also very important. Any questions about gerunds and infinitives? Is it clear? Yes, Olher, it's clear?
Yeah.
Perfect. Megan, is it clear?
Yep. So far,
Perfect.
so good.
It is important to, sorry, it is important to make a lot of review about the different rules.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
my recommendation, once I copy this into your chat, you can maybe practice, read it and make your own examples, right? Make your own examples. Talk about them, because this is going to help us a lot, It's going to help us
Okay.
a lot in our English, and if you're interested in the Cambridge exam, this is going to help you a lot. So that's
Yeah.
why I wanted for you to know this situation. Okay, let's go very quick to how part two, or what we need to study for part two of the reading and use of English test. I'm sorry for the noise. Just give me a moment.
Don't worry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, let's go very quick here to, let me see, over here. So what do we need to study for part two? Remember, Megan and Olher, again, let me show you part two of the test. Part two is this. They show us a text, and based on our grammar knowledge, we need to know which word to put in here. They don't give us options like part one. Remember, part one, they give us A, B, C, and D. Here, they don't give us any option, and we just need to know which word to put in, okay? So what do we need to study to know what to put in? Well, this is what we need to study. Let me show it to you. Sorry. Okay. We need to study quantifiers, okay? Quantifiers like many, every, each, etc. For example, Megan, which quantifier will you use here? There can be these ones or others, right? Doesn't have to be these ones. There were only
There were only a few people at the zoo yesterday.
excellent, a few, right? So we need to study quantifiers to know that we need to use a few over here. We need to study collocations. Remember that I sent you a book, right? Of collocations. We need to study that. Remember, we use set with example. We use change with subject. We use be with favor, etc. Right? So which one do we use here? I expect you to, what collocates with promise? What do you think collocates with promise?
I expect you to keep your promise to give me a lift.
Very good. We use keep because keep collocates with promise, right? Collocations are words that always go together, okay? For example, all her collocations are fast always goes with food, fast food, right? Or for example, quick always goes with shower. You say a quick shower. You don't say a fast shower, right? You say a quick shower. So our words are always are together, right? So in this case, we need to study collocations, and that's why I send you, actually I'm going to send it to you if you want, Oliver. I'm going to send you directly this book also for you to have it and for you to study collocations, okay? Now, we need to study determiners, right? For example, some, the. This one is very easy. For example, Oliver, what will you put here? I live in?
I live in, I don't know. I don't know.
We use the in this case, the. Because we,
I live in the USA for some years now.
Correct, yeah. So remember that for
sorry,
countries.
I don't have an option to see the.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, yeah, let me put it bigger. Yeah, so yeah, the USA. Remember that for countries that have different states or kingdom, United Kingdom, we use the, right? Because mostly for the countries, we don't use the, but for these ones we do. Now, we use models, right? We use models like we should, would, must, can. So in this one, which model should we use, Megan? You absolutely
must not use this path through the valley.
Perfect. Must, right? Because we're using absolutely, right? So it's something mandatory. Now, verb forms like done, taken, see, etc., right? For example, this one is easy also. His. We don't need to use this ones, right? Maybe it's another one. But just a verb form, maybe here. He's
been working on his car for 2 hours now.
Correct. He's been working, right? Also, we need to study phrasal verbs. We need to study a lot of phrasal verbs like give up, carry on, make out, etc. For example, here, Susie, which one goes taken? If I say Susie has taken.
Taken up photography.
Taken up. When we start something, right? We're doing something, we say taken up, right? So that's a phrasal verb that we need to learn. Also, pronouns like me, it, that. This one is very easy, I guess, right? Tom hurt. Which one should we use here? All hurt. Tom hurt.
Hurt him while playing football.
I'm sorry?
Hurt him.
Well, I would say himself.
Almost there. What did you say, Megan?
I would say that it's Tom hurt himself.
Himself, así mismo, right? So in this case, we need to study pronouns a lot, right? So Tom hurt himself, right? Relative pronouns like who, whose, which, etc. So, for example, my wife, this one is easy. My wife, who, right? Who is Brazilian, works in the university, right? So mi esposa, like, ¿quién es brasileña? Who is Brazilian? Works in the university. Now we need to study comparisons a lot. Comparisons. For example, here, Suzanne has twice as
much.
As, well, but or clothes, I think it's many, right? Because it's clothes. Yeah, clothes is, yeah, I think, yeah, it's many. Because clothes is countable, right? Yeah. So Susan has twice as many clothes, right? Linkers, things that we connect. We need to study that. For example, you will lose weight. Which one will you put here?
What?
This one is a little bit difficult, right?
You won't lose weight unless you go on a diet.
Excellent, unless you go on a diet. And prepositions. In this one, we are going to find a lot of prepositions in this part. That's why I took the time to explain to you a little bit of prepositions. But here, for example, we say according, and which preposition should we be using here?
According to.
according to the website. So according collocates with 2, right? Goes with 2. Okay, so these are the parts that we need to learn in part 2 of this reading and use of English test for C1. Okay, so that's what we are going to learn. If you can maybe write down in your books, you can practice that page 26 and page 27. So please write down 26 and 27 on your books that you guys have. You can practice this. So please, for homework, do those pages. I think are the same. They are the same as the ones that I sent in PDF. Hopefully, I guess they are. Just in case, send me a picture of those pages, just in case they're not the same. But in the physical book that I have is 26 and 27. So that will be for homework for you to practice these parts. If you want, I can give you some time for you to do this activity. Remember, number 0 is the example. Let's try to do this. Okay, let's try to do this part, and maybe I can give you 2 minutes if you want, or a little bit more, so you can fill out the blanks and see which words we need to put here, and then we're gonna check them, and that will be actually the class for today. As I was telling you, today class is not very very long, but it's very important for us to practice part 2 of the reading and use of English test. So let's do this right now, and let's see if you can do it. And I'm just gonna check it, and we're going to see how many correct you got. Okay, so let's do this part right now. You can just write the answers on a piece of paper there. For example, you just put number 1 and just write the answer, number 2 and write the answer, and then we're going to check it.
Joel,
Yes, Olher, do you have a question?
I'm sorry. It's amazing, but I don't have a piece of paper here because I am living in my new home.
Oh, don't worry, don't worry. Okay,
I don't have a piece of paper and pencil. It's really difficult to.
don't worry, don't worry. Olher.
Now that I don't have because I'm living in a new apartment.
Okay, don't worry, Olher. Yes, well, at least try to look some of them, right? And then we're going to check it in a moment. But this is part 2 of the reading of use of English test. So for Cambridge. So just keep on reading. Try to maybe memorize 1 or 2, and then we're just going to check it. Okay. So and I'm recording this lesson, so you can see it later on and copy the answers also. Okay. So
we just need to place in the space preposition or something like that. I'm not clear about the instructions. I'm
Okay,
not.
all her here, yeah, here we need to include in this paragraph, in this text, we need to include a quantifier, a collocation, or a determiner, or a model, or a verb form, or a
Oh, okay.
phrasal verb, or a pronoun. So we need to know based on our knowledge, we need to
Okay.
just put some of these words. Okay.
Okay.
So because in this one, they don't give us any option, right? So maybe it's a little bit more difficult because they don't give us options. Based on our knowledge, we need to know what to put in, right? Which word. It's gonna be always one word, right? So that's what we're doing here. Are we clear now, Olher?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Okay, okay.
But I think I'm not ready to do it now.
Okay, don't worry, don't worry, don't
I
worry.
just really need to study a lot because it was really difficult to have a lot of information about the different things that you told me a few seconds ago.
Right, right. Yeah, and
Important to make a review a lot of different things
right.
to be able to complete all these paragraphs. Maybe Megan is really smart about that paper, but in my
Yeah.
case, I have to try to make a review.
Right, right. And that's why you have your platform, you have your book, you need to start with unit one,
Okay.
unit two, right? And little by little, you're going to work with that. Remember that in this case, the course is like we need to go very fast, right? Because there's people that are gonna be doing the test in December. So that's why we're just working, but in the platform, you can work, step by step, right? And with your book, you can work. And of course, if you are working on the platform, you can ask me any questions, whatever question you need, and I'll be more than glad to help you, Olher, okay? So I don't
Yeah.
want for you to feel like lost, right? In this one, it's just good to review in general the parts of the test, but in the platform, we're gonna go step by step, right? With
Okay.
with the units and with the book and everything, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, in this case, the course is we just see the parts of the test. That's what we're doing here. But in the platform, you practice everything, vocabulary, a little bit of listening, a little bit of grammar, So that's what we're doing in the book with the units. Yeah. Okay, Megan, did you finish or?
Yeah, I guess so. I do have a question with number two, but we'll see.
Okay. Well, let me give you the answers and let's check it. Okay. Okay.
All right.
Number one is spend. Spend. Number two, unless. Number three, right? Just Number four, few. Number five has two options. You can put or if or though, any of those. If or though, number five. Number six, then. Number seven, in. And number eight, such. How many correct did you get, Megan?
I got 6 out of 8.
Okay, well, good, good. So remember, Megan and all her on your book, the one that you have, you can practice that on page 26 and 27. So please write it down over there and please do it as homework. And if you have questions, please let me know, okay? So that will be then part two of the this lesson. Well, in general, that's what I really want for you to know, right? The preposition situation with the gerunds and also practicing directly part two and what to study for part two of the reading and use of English test. Do you have any specific questions or I'm going to send you in a moment in your WhatsApp group. I'm going to send you all that what we saw here with the prepositions, with everything. Please, Olher and Megan, you can try to use your own examples with that so that you can remember which preposition goes with adjectives and with verbs, and in that case with the noun that we saw, and try to work with your own examples, and also try to do the pages that I gave you here on your book, right? And I don't know if you have some specific questions about it, about today's lesson, or something else that you would like to know before we finish our class for today.
No, this part is difficult.
It's difficult, right, Megan? It's
Yeah,
difficult, right?
it's very difficult.
Yeah, yeah. I think from the reading and use of English is like is one of the most difficult because there is another one that I think is more difficult than
Yeah,
this.
the listening with listening to things at the same time, that one stuff too. But I think that this one's very difficult because I mean I can think of a word that I think matches or fits, but no.
But
So
who
yeah,
knows, right? But who knows?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. And that's why during this week, please work on these pages that I gave you. And let me know if those are the pages because the page needs to say exam folder 2. Page
Yeah,
26,
I think so.
page 26 needs to look like this. Okay. So this is how the page in exam folder 2, page 26. So look to see this if it's the page that you have. Read this information, it's going to help you a lot. Work on it, then practice with this, and then you guys have over here in the second part, we have another the real part of the test, which is this one, right? The one like the one that we just did. So please work on that, and if you don't have the answers, ask me for the answers, or if you have it, you can just check it for yourself. But we need to really work on this because, as Megan was saying, it's not easy, right? This part is not easy. So so please work on that. Any questions, let me know. And any other comments?
No.
No? Okay. Olher, please keep on looking, try to look at the platform. Go slow because I know that, as you were saying, this is a lot for me. So we can go slow, don't worry. Go with unit 1 little by little, okay? Because this is not like, we don't need to run, right? So little by little. And what we really want is for you to learn, right? So go step by step, okay? But in these live lessons, we're just working on the parts of the test. That's all we're doing, right? But
Yeah.
but at least now you have an idea of how the part works, right? So so thank you very much, Olher. Thank you, Megan. I hope that you have a good night. And again, any questions, please let me know. Okay.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
so thank you very much. See you next week. Bye bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye.